Start this hour in Japan, where the government has launched a new task force to fight a growing coronavirus outbreak. The move paves the way for the Prime Minister to declare a state of emergency based on a newly enacted law.
Welcome to Hiking and Survival in Japan. My name is Daniel, and this is the third in my installments of videos about what's going on in Japan and around me anyway, and what I and my family are doing to try and protect ourselves the best we can in the way society is dealing with it here in Japan. Every country is dealing with this C-19 in many different ways. Some countries are doing total lockdowns, some are doing partial lockdowns. Here in Japan, the government is being really fuzzy on everything and not doing anything 100%.
And where the Prime Minister is making final arrangements to declare a state of emergency to tackle the coronavirus pandemic. The governor of Osaka in western Japan is welcoming Abe's announcement.
With this declaration, we can issue a stronger message to people in Osaka.
They're kind of fumbling around in the dark, doing things half-heartedly, out of fear of losing face and making a commitment that might upset the people, but unfortunately in the end what it seems to be doing is confusing the Japanese people themselves, because nobody knows what's to be done or not to be done. Is life to go on as normal? Is life not to go on as normal? Should they stay at home? Should they go to work? Most companies are still working, no difference. Like myself, I still have to go to work every day, travel to different places. Some companies have taken the initiative of saying work from home if you can.
The declaration could put pressure on companies to switch to telework or temporarily close storefronts.
At the moment, I feel that people are getting tired and worn out. At the beginning of March, when I first started making these videos, we were told that all schools were being closed for 2 weeks. Everything was going to stop. This was going to run in then to the spring break for the kids, and this would help the curb of the C-19 virus from spreading. I think the government were hoping that companies would follow suit and close down for the 2 weeks as well and self-quarantine its workers of sorts.
It's not realistic for us to close our shops unless we get compensation. Some owners might close their businesses, but I'll keep mine open.
My company has been pretty good. They kind of turned around and said, well, listen, we're closing all our classes because we're schools. If you have holidays, take your holidays. If not, then just report to the classroom and isolate yourself in your workspace while helping clean and disinfect the classrooms as best we can and get them ready for when we reopen again. And that went on for the 2 weeks. And during that time, I did not see many Japanese people taking this seriously at all. The trains were still packed, the cities are still packed. Not many people were wearing masks because there wasn't that many masks to get, because bulk buying, there was a whole thing of profiteering going on here where rich people were mass buying the masks and then selling them online. It got so bad that there was reported that one government official actually was stealing huge quantities of stored masks from his business place and selling them on auction to make money out of it. Okay, these people go around and these things happen. Now we've got to the end of March into April, and slowly I start to see more people wearing masks. Slowly the streets are thinning out. Slowly bars and nightclubs and all that have closed down and not opened. Like here today, now this is April 5th, and coming to work this morning, now I tried to travel to work a little bit earlier, so I'm not on packed trains because social separation here is not happening. Definitely people haven't been told to do it, they're not doing it, nowhere is actually kind of even providing things to help them do it. Which means then the best that I can do as a citizen to protect myself and to others is to kind of travel on less packed trains, try to get here earlier, So my train this morning, although it was not so full, most of the people, I would say 70% of the people now were wearing masks and trying to not be too close to each other. So slowly, Japanese people are slowly coming up to what's going on in the world. I have noticed I've been living here now for nearly 16 years, and the biggest thing I've always been told is, oh, Japan's an island. We have an island mentality, which basically means they're an elitist which don't give a shit about the rest of the world or try to follow what's going on in the outside world. The detrimental side of that is now they haven't been keeping up to what's going on in other countries, the death tolls and everything else. But recently there, last week, a very, very popular and well-known Japanese comedian died from the C19 virus. And this has kind of awoken a lot of people to how dangerous this is. And I think that's helped a little bit. Unfortunately, his death, which we will always miss him, has had some good in some ways, that I think it is making people more realise what they need to be doing, what has to be done. We kind of noticed once the government decided that they were not going to have the Olympics this year, that the amount of infections in Tokyo skyrocketed, literally within 2 days, overnight, where they had like 25 infections one day, the next day they had 40, next time they had 71, and it's going up and up and up and up and up. You'll see the statistics, they've come up on the screen there, they're taken from NHK themselves here in Japan. The broadcasting people here in Japan have been very open and trying to get the messages out there, but unfortunately it's falling on deaf ears because people are waiting for the government to step up and make rules and regulations on what to do, because Japanese people love rules and regulations. But as the government's been treading softly and being pussies about this, the Japanese people don't feel that they have to actually step up to it.
A significant measure will likely be the request for people to stay at home, but it is only a request, not mandatory.
They found out that basically 70 to 80% of the infections in Tokyo are with young people. Again, I call this out to the World Health Organization and the medical professionals in the beginning of this crisis, saying that it only affects old people and sick kids. That was the biggest mistake they ever did. They worded it so badly that young people think they're immune to this and just running around, just not giving a shit, basically. And even now, some schools have started coming back today after the spring break, some haven't. Schools in general are kind of just doing their own things. So my hand's getting a bit tired there now. Schools are getting, they don't know what to do, again, because no official guideline has been put down. And so some schools are holding off for a while, some are not. I've heard of some schools who are thinking about doing an online system for teaching to keep the kids up, their education up. What exactly is going to happen, I don't know. I have two kids of my own, an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old, and at the moment they were supposed to go back to school today. We haven't heard anything. We haven't heard anything to tell them to go back or when they're going back, so we're still in kind of limbo with that. But coming into work today, I've seen schools opening and full of kids. So I really don't know what's going on. It's funny also now that the world is finally waking up to figure out that these type of masks do have value, they do work.
左がマスクなし、右がマスクあり。比べると差は明らか。完全に防ぐことはできませんが、症状がある人がつけるとリスクを軽減する。
That this whole thing at the beginning, where I had very good friends, well, people I thought were very good friends and well knowledgeable about stuff, basically telling everybody and anybody, sell them, burn them, don't use them, get full respirators. Again, that was look after myself, fuck everybody else type of attitude, and that has become detrimental now because people who didn't realise this was pretty serious or didn't want to follow trends. Right, so to cut a long story short, people have suddenly realised that masks do help, they do matter, Because they suddenly, for some strange reason, suddenly realised that coughing and sneezes spreads diseases, and that a cough and a sneeze does travel more than
100分の1ミリ以下と小さく軽いため漂い続けます。
2 meters. Yes, it does. And this is a scientific fact we learned at school. I don't know why people found it so strange to understand that if I sneeze, I can literally get over 100 feet if the water droplets from me sneezing, because it comes out at hundreds of miles an hour.
マイクロ飛沫。
And so, like, face masks do work because they stop the distance that these germs and bacteria will travel inside the mask. And again, as in all my videos, I'm trying to put around the thing to get into people's head. It's not about protecting yourself, it's about protecting others. And that's something they've done here in Japanese culture for a very long time, of basically trying to protect other people from themselves. And that's why they wear masks. Okay, so get out there, wear a mask. It doesn't have to be a surgical mask. Slowly but surely you'll realise that people are making their own homemade masks with different layers of cotton. Okay, if you have tightly woven cotton that has at least about 3 layers in it, that will stop most bacteria, okay, from getting out, because you're actually not having the bacteria itself get out. It's to stop the water droplets that the bacteria is attached to coming out of your mouth. And the water droplets are bigger than the bacteria, and they will catch in dense, high woven cotton. Okay. Why is it that originally they were saying that masks don't work, but still doctors and nurses were going around with masks on? I'll tell you why. Is because they didn't want to have the manic, panic buying of masks that has eventually happened, and having a short supply for all the nurses and doctors to wear. That's the reason why. Okay. If the governments had turned around and said everyone wear a mask straight away, people would have been panicking and jumping up and down, and there would be riots in the streets, and then people going like, why isn't the government giving us masks? And eventually that's what's happening here in Japan. Our companies are being issued with masks from the Japanese government, and they're supposed to supply them to their workers. I've got a supply from my company. Now it's not much, but it's better than nothing. At the moment, the Prime Minister here, Abe, he has done something really stupid by saying, I'll send out 2 reusable masks to every household. Now, the stupid part is not that he's sending out reusable masks to each household. The stupid part is that he's only sending 2. Now, I don't know where he's living, if he's living in China really in his head, and there's only 2 people in every household, or what planet he's living on. But most Japanese families have 4 to 5, even more people in their houses. And so 2 masks really they're worthless. You know, really, what 2 masks is for 1 person. So you have 1 in the wash and 1 in your face. So that's the stupid part about that. Okay, he should have been at least sending 5 or 6, make it a rounded number of, you know, an even number of 6 to every household. But instead 2. When we'll get them is another matter as well. At the moment, the Japanese government is saying a lot but doing very little. So it's great sound bites, but at the end of the day, nothing's affecting the ground. It's taking too long for them to do everything. But as I was saying, getting back to what we're doing in our family is, you know, we're trying to do our best, but people are just kind of getting tired of this lockdown, or not getting into a lockdown and just getting about to do what they do their day-to-day lives. Okay, and so it's getting tiring for us, it's getting tiring for everybody. If we were just on a lockdown for a month and we had to stay in our homes, it will be better, because we know where we are then, we know where we stand, and you can deal with it. But at the moment, the Japanese people are in limbo about what they should do, what they shouldn't do. Okay, and this is how I think the disease is really going to spread here now, is because you have a non-standard format of how to look after it. companies, certain companies, are going out of the way and giving sanitizers, stuff to help you clean where you are. And some companies are giving masks, some aren't, but there you have it. I'm not going to make this video too long. I just want to hope that everyone out there is doing their best to self-isolate. If they can't self-isolate, that they're looking after themselves, washing their hands, wear a mask of some sort. Okay, again, it's not to protect yourself, it's to protect others. You don't know if you have the disease yet or not, because it takes 4 or 5 days to basically show itself, and then it affects people in different ways, all depending on how healthy you are or what type of immune system you have. Okay, and that's the truth. That's what's coming out. That's what they're proving. The governments haven't really turned around and said it yet, but if you listen to the reports, that's what they're saying. Okay, some people are just getting fevers, some people are just getting coughs, some people are getting the full-blown pneumonia. It just depends on the person. So if you just got a sniffle and feel a bit under the weather and feel a bit run down, you could still have it, but that's the way it's affecting you, and then you're a carrier and you're spreading it to other people. So again, wear a mask of some sort, wash your hands, and just take care of yourself. Try to get enough sleep, try to get enough food, and be well and healthy. Try to stimulate your minds if you're locked in, and don't look on the dark side too much. There is always light at the end of the tunnel, and this will eventually end, and it will be part of history at the end of the day. Just make sure that you can survive to see it. All right, so as always, be prepared, and we'll see you in the next video.